Hey, what's up, everybody? Ned Bellavance, Ned1313 on Twitter, and welcome to the Daily Check-in for June 15th, 2020. It's Monday, and as you may have caught from last week, Mondays are now Professional Development Mondays. That's what I'm going to focus on Mondays, is just accelerating your career and doing proper professional development, getting out there and doing better in your world and maybe even your life. Who knows? Who knows how far this could extend? My topic for today is one I can't believe I haven't done already. It's my three pillars. It's literally the first post on my blog, if you ever happen to go there. So that's what we're going to talk about this week. A few housekeeping things. I actually got a message on LinkedIn from someone over the weekend who said, loving the daily check-in, loving day two cloud. Where can I get more Ned? And I was like, you can't possibly be serious, right? Because that's a lot of Ned for anybody. But, he asked. And so I thought I'd put together like a list of where you can find stuff if you wanted more. It's up to you. So I also include links to all this stuff in the notes so you don't have to try to remember it yourself. But as I mentioned, I have a blog. It's nedinthecloud.com. It's very easy to find. And if you're trying to find where else I do things, that's actually probably a good reference point to start out. In terms of podcasts, I've got the Daily Check-In podcast. So that's one. I also run a podcast through the Packet-Pushers with Ethan Banks. It's called Day 2 Cloud, focusing on the operational issues of running in the cloud. And then the third podcast I do, yes, I have three, I know, is called Buffer Overflow. And we just crossed episode 163. That'll get published this week. It's a weekly tech news podcast dedicated to whatever we find most interesting. I do it with three other people. So those are all the podcasts I do. I also do analysis work for GigaOM. So if you're looking for tech analysis, I'm really focused on the edge right now, but you can go to GigaOM and find my analyst profile. I have this YouTube channel, obviously. I also write courses for Pluralsight. So if you have a membership to Pluralsight, you can go on there and see all the different courses I've done. They're very focused on Microsoft Azure and HashiCorp products, though I do have an AWS networking course that I'm pretty proud of. I think it turned out really well. I have a book on LeanPub that's around the Terraform certification. And lastly, you can just find me on LinkedIn and Twitter. I mean, if that's not enough for you, I don't know, come live at my house. Why not? So anyway, with that out of the way, I just want to check in with you. How you doing? How are things going? It's Monday, and Mondays aren't so bad. And I actually got around to setting up my new webcam. So if I look a little different, if I'm a little crisper, a little better looking, I ordered a Logitech Brio webcam back when this whole pandemic started in March. And it said it shipped, and then it said it didn't ship. And then I got a notification telling me they weren't going to ship it and refund my money or never charge my card. And then magically it showed up last week. It's just really weird. So I've got this nice new webcam that I ordered like 3 months ago. So how about that? Hopefully it looks good. Let's talk about the topic at hand, which is my three pillars. I've already talked for 4 minutes, so this is actually, it's not a long topic, but it is sort of three things that I always come back to as I'm thinking about my career, and it applies to my life in general a little bit. So the first one, and this is, I won't say it's the most important one, but this is one that's really important to me because it's something I have to force myself to do, is embrace discomfort. If you're completely comfortable in your job and in your life, you're probably not progressing. And while in your life, that might be fine. You don't always need to be, reaching for the next mountain. In your career, you might. It all depends on your priority stack. And that's a whole other conversation. But if you want to progress in things, you have to embrace discomfort, because that discomfort means you're learning something. It means you're trying something new. And I found that every time I wanted to move up to the next thing in my career, I had to do something that I wasn't entirely comfortable with. A great example of that is when I wanted to move out of a sysadmin role into consulting. That meant being customer facing and in new situations all the time. And I was deeply uncomfortable with doing that, but I made myself do it and I ended up getting pretty comfortable with it. And then I started doing pre-sales work, and that was uncomfortable because now I was in the sales cycle as opposed to the post-sales delivery cycle. And that made me uncomfortable, but I did it and it made me better at my career and moved me up through the consulting group. Now then I went off and did this now, so that's a whole other thing. And talk about discomfort, quitting your day job and just making this your full-time gig. Also very uncomfortable, but super worthwhile doing. So I guess if you're considering something and it's not making you uncomfortable, think again, push yourself harder. You know you can do it. You absolutely have the capability. But the thing about doing things that are new and exciting and are going to make you uncomfortable is you're also going to fail. You're going to fail a lot. And that brings us to the second pillar: fail often. You're going to fail at things, and that's absolutely fine. The whole point of failing is to learn things. I'll tell you, as someone who occasionally writes code, nothing is more disturbing to me when I write code and run it and it works the first time, because I'm not that good at coding, and there's no way it should have worked right the first time. I absolutely did something wrong. And if it's working, it means it's working and I don't know why. And it's going to break later and I'm going to have to figure it out then. So, knowing that, I expect failure. When I try to set up a new automation pipeline for Terraform or something, I expect a sea of red before it ever goes green, and then maybe some more red after that when I make a change. That's my expectation. I expect to fail, and that's 100% fine. I'm good with that. And that extends beyond just programming to other aspects of experimentation. As you experiment and you try new things, you're going to fail at them or you're going to suck at them initially. And it's going to be a lot of stumbling blocks. And the more you do new things, the more you tend to recognize patterns in your learning and patterns in how you do things. And that's perfect. That's exactly where you want to be. So know that you're going to fail, learn from those failures, and keep advancing in your career or whatever you're trying to do. I'm sure there's a ton more examples around failure that I could pull out, but hey, talking about failure is not always the most exciting thing. Now, you're going to fail and you're going to want to reach out for help. And that's huge because other people can help you along your path. How are you going to get those people to help you? How are you going to convince other people that you're worthwhile taking a chance on? How are you going to expand your network of support? That comes to the third pillar, which is be nice. I know it sounds trite. It sounds ridiculous. It almost sounds milquetoast, right? But being nice actually gets you really far in your career because think about it. Let's say person A is kind of a jerk. They throw their weight around, but they're really smart and really competent. So you put up with them because they get the job done. And along comes person two. Person two is also competent and good at their job. And person two is very pleasant to be around. They're nice, they're respectful, they listen, they take feedback. Who are you going to work with on your next project given the choice? You're going to work with the person who's not a jerk. So it's just, that simple example should be enough to show that being nice really does pay dividends. I know they say like nice guys finish last, but that's not true. Most of the people that I've worked with in my career, especially those that I've formed bonds with and I consider friends, are overwhelmingly nice people. Now, I want to say that doesn't mean that they're always nice. It doesn't mean that they're like a floor mat that you can walk upon. They stand up for themselves. They stand up for what they believe in, but they're not jerks about it. And they are humble enough to take criticism when it's valid. And they are kind enough to deliver criticism in a way that will actually help you grow and is not meant to just shut you down. It's a really big difference in the way that some people approach criticism to them and criticism outgoing. And those who are nicer about it tend to just end up in better positions. So yes, you can be a jerk, you can burn bridges, you can plow your way up to the upper echelons of the corporate ladder by being a jerk and just he's the person who gets things done. She burns bridges, but you know what, she gets results, and she's not fun to be around. Whatever this personality type is, I know it, I've encountered it, I don't care for it, and that's not who I want to be, and that's not who I want to associate with. So I'll put up with them if I don't have a choice, but that doesn't mean I'm going to run back to them to do another job or another project. So like, those are my 3 pillars. I think they're pretty straightforward and pretty, I won't say they're easy to adopt. They can be difficult, but they're easy to remember, and that's nice. So 1, embrace discomfort. 2, fail often. And 3, be nice. And that's, I think if you apply those pillars to your personal career, I think you'll see growth and you'll move up in whatever you're trying to do. So that's my advice for what we're now calling Professional Development Mondays, PDM. That probably stands for something else as well. But anyway, so that's my advice for Monday. I'll be back with Terraform Tuesday tomorrow. Excited about that. The same person who asked me about getting more Ned also asked that I do like a Terraform 100 level. What is Terraform? Why would you use it? Kind of video. And I'm going to do that. So that's going to be the topic for tomorrow's Terraform video is Terraform basics. What is it? Why would you use it? Hopefully that'll be helpful for those who are kind of wondering and haven't read something that resonated with them yet. So that'll be the topic for tomorrow. Until then, stay safe and stay healthy, everybody. Thanks.